Now, I was involved in the MEG experiments, magnetoelectroencephalograph. They took us out to hook us up to these magnetoelectroencephalograph. There's only 5 of them in the world. And they put this big, huge tank right against your skull. And it's like an EEG, except with this one, it can get down to a single synapse in your brain. They can focus it. So instead of getting your overall brainwave patterns, they can focus down to single synapses and all that. They wanted to see what was going on when you remote view. And so what they did was they had us in this Mu metal room. Mu metal blocks out all magnetism, even the Earth's magnetism and all that, and all electronic waves. So it's a electronic magnetic proof room. And they have you on one of these massage tables with your hole, your head in a hole. And they had a mirror that hooked to a link of mirrors that went out of the room. And they would project vertical and horizontal lines of different spacing and all that. And they had the MEG unit going to see on our visual cortex to see how it reacted to these lines. We did that for 20 minutes and then stayed in total darkness for 20 minutes to let everything subside. And then Neville, who was a lab assistant, would sit down at a computer in the far end of the building in the basement. They would show him the lines, and they said, remote view Neville, and let's see what you get. And my brainwaves reacted to to the lines he was seeing 54%, I think somewhere around 54% of the time, accurately. We had one other woman in the unit. Hers was the highest at 60 some odd. Most of the other people, it was around 30. But it definitely showed the mental access to another person's brain. And this is what they were wanting to figure out. The strange thing was, they would show him vertical lines, and I would get a mental picture of a stand of birch trees or a picket fence or something like that. They'd show him horizontal lines, and I would get a mental picture of a roadway or traffic or railroad, railroad rails, ties, things like that. And that's when I realized your subconscious has an awareness, and it gives your conscious mind a picture or the closest estimate it can give you of it. And this is what Ingo called analytic overlay, AOLs. So your conscious mind gives you one of these gestalts, and you come out with a noun. So it can have, you get an image of a car, and you write, it's a car. If you jump to that conclusion, you're going to be wrong in everything else. You say, describe the car. It's surrounded by water. It's on the ocean. Your subconscious has simply told you this is a conveyance that carries people, but you jump to the conclusion, oh, it must be a car. And so this became a standard thing in the controlled remote viewing. You describe it, you don't try to identify it. And we found out that when you do that, your accuracy rate goes up really well.
Yeah, it's when you're going through a target and you have an image of, I don't know, Eiffel Tower, right? That's an analytical overlay, right?
Yeah.
Because so if you don't objectify it immediately, it can really color. And that's where remote viewing can go wrong, right? Which is...
Yeah. And it's where psychics go wrong almost all the time. We had a natural psychic come in one time, and we gave him a target. And he said, I see a large building. And it was true. And in this building, there is a special room that's true. And that was the target. That room was the target. He said, there are people walking around in these white gowns and coveralls, and they have these, white booties on their feet and white hats and these surgical masks on. And in this hospital, I hear screaming and all this other stuff.
It sounds like a semiconductor wafer facility, actually.
That's what it was. It was the clean room at Microsoft. But the minute he said surgical mask, boom, he was from that on. Totally wrong. Yeah.
Interesting.
And this is what natural psychics do. Yeah.
If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like, subscribe, and notification buttons. Additionally, if you have any feedback, please put something in the comments below. And lastly, if you want to watch the full episode of this clip, you can find it above. Thanks again for watching.